Right now at noon, an urgent search for a Washington state inmate who escaped Western State Hospital. Now he's considered armed and dangerous. Over 50 years after her disappearance, new DNA testing links a Utah teen's death to infamous serial killer Ted Bundy.
So many things that are happening, and these students are so special to me, and it just breaks my heart.
Plus, hundreds of families and staff with Vancouver Public Schools holding a walk-in in protest of looming budget cuts. And the desperate search for a woman who police say disappeared along Highway 22. What led up to it? Now at noon. And taking a live look at the White House, where we are learning about some breaking news this noon. President Trump has fired his hand-picked Attorney General Pam Bondi. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Gordon. According to NBC News, the president had been weighing the move for days and delivered the news in what one person described as a, quote, tough conversation. The president had grown frustrated with Bondi on several fronts, including her handling of records tied to Jeffrey Epstein. For now, she will be replaced by Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Bondi is the second cabinet member to be axed by the president. Kristi Noem was fired last month as Homeland Security Secretary. Well, happening right now in local government, Portland City Council is discussing a new transportation fee that could increase your utility bill. Last month, the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee unanimously approved a proposal to create a transportation utility and street damage restoration fee. Under the proposal, single-family homeowners would pay about $12 a month, while renters would pay roughly $8 to $9 monthly. PBOT estimates it would generate $47 million annually that would go toward road maintenance and repair. If given the go-ahead in today's committee meeting, it will move to a full council vote. Celine Stevens is at that city council meeting right now, and she'll have a full report for us in our 4 o'clock newscast. In an update from this morning, family and staff with Vancouver Public Schools held a walk-in today to protest budget cuts. The district is looking to fill a $24 million budget gap. Around 280 teachers were notified last week that their jobs may be cut. The district says not all of those teachers will be laid off. Some could be recalled or reassigned. But in addition to layoffs, some full-time staff positions are being reduced to part-time jobs. The uncertainty has been difficult for teachers.
So many things that are happening, and these students are so special to me, and it just breaks my heart that in my 9th year, I'm being told that I don't get to continue with these relationships that I've built over a near decade.
We've seen cuts like these all across our area over the past few years as schools in Washington and Oregon are dealing with falling enrollment and what administrators call inadequate levels of state funding. Now to the urgent search for this inmate who authorities say escaped from the Western State Hospital in Lakewood, Washington, earlier this week. A release from Clark County says 35-year-old Joshua Rice broke out of the hospital at 8 o'clock Tuesday night. They say he has pending charges including robbery, assault, and theft of a motor vehicle. The release also says he has a known criminal history in Multnomah County and should be considered armed and dangerous. Anyone with information or if you've seen him, call 911. Meantime, police are looking for a Salem woman this afternoon who they say disappeared last week after running out of gas along Highway 22. Oregon State Police say Maria Kilmer was picking someone up in Lyons, east of Staten, when she ran out of gas on the way back to Salem. Police say she stopped near milepost 15, just outside of Staten. The passenger who was with Kilmer told police she left the car and got into the car of an unknown driver who'd stopped at the scene, leaving behind her keys, purse, ID, and phone. Well, new at noon, Washington Governor Bob Ferguson has signed a bill that sets new standards for law enforcement leaders. Under the new law, anyone wanting to lead a police agency must be at least 25 years old, have 5 years of law enforcement experience, and pass a background check. This does not apply to current chiefs and sheriffs. The most contentious part of this is what happens to an elected sheriff who loses their police certification. Previously, a sheriff could keep their job even after being decertified. Now the sheriff will automatically be out. The law takes effect at the end of the month. Well, happening today, the Blazers are under new ownership for the first time in decades. Texas billionaire Tom Dundon and some other investors are set to hold a news conference about the future of the franchise. We expect Dundon to lay out some of his vision and take questions from reporters like our Rolando Sanchez. You can catch it live in its entirety at 3 p.m. later today on our free TV streaming app, KGW+. Well, taking a live look from our Wells Fargo Skycam, where it's cloudy out there and the rain's starting to move out of our area. Let's check in with Chris McGinnis, who's got a look at what's to come. Chris?
Diminishing, yeah, with the showers, but in some cases we're getting peppered pretty good right now, and I'll show you that in a second. This is radar over the last 3 hours. We had a bit of a lull in the action in the valley in the I-5 corridor this morning, but with the relative heating of the day and some sun breaks out there, we're starting to see the atmosphere percolate just a little bit. One good cell now working its way through Salmon Creek. It's raining pretty hard once you get north of SR 14 and up towards the I-5 205 confluence. In fact, we've got our Vancouver Springs to the waterfront camera pivoted around to the north, and there you can see the clouds and obviously the low cloud deck there and the rain. It's not far off from this camera vantage point. 49 right now at Pearson Field. Otherwise, we've got some sun breaks in some cases, like over downtown Portland. That's the live look from our Rose City sky camera. 49 last check at PDX as well. And of course, the snow continues up on Mount Hood, where the winter weather advisory remains in effect through late this afternoon. Good to see some fresh snow up there to the tune of about 10 inches or so since late last night, where it's currently 25 degrees. All right, down low for the rest of us, the plan on and off with the clouds, sun breaks, and occasional showers heading through the afternoon, with temperatures getting into the mid-50s, so a bit on the cool side. But after a bit of a chill in the air tomorrow morning, we've got a mild to downright warm, potentially record warm forecast going into Easter weekend. I've got more on that coming up in just a bit. Tim?
Can't wait to hear about it. Chris, thanks. In a primetime address to the nation on the war in Iran, President Trump last night said most of the U.S. military goals have been met, but the strikes will intensify over the next 2 to 3 weeks to finish the job. Without a new detail or two on a concrete path out of the war, markets were rattled overnight. NBC's Alice Barr joins us from Washington, D.C. with more.
President Trump speaking directly to the American people overnight in his first primetime address since the start of the Iran war, saying that 1 month into U.S. strikes, the nation's military objectives are nearing completion.
We are systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America or project power outside of their borders.
The president pointing to progress toward destroying Iran's Navy, Air Force, and missile program.
These actions will cripple Iran military, crush their ability to support terrorist proxies, and deny them the ability to build a nuclear bomb.
But he made clear it's not over yet.
We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Stocks slid and oil prices surged on word of more intense strikes and no concrete end date to the war that's upended the global energy supply and sent U.S. gas prices soaring over $4 a gallon on average. President Trump claimed after the fighting ends, prices would drop and the vital energy route, the Strait of Hormuz, would open up naturally, while also urging other countries to step in to
take care of that passage. They must cherish it. They must grab it and cherish it.
Critics saying the president didn't do enough to lay out the path forward, as a recent Reuters Ipsos poll shows just 35% of Americans surveyed approve of the war, 60% disapprove.
We are not indicating how exactly we're going to end this. We're spending exorbitant amounts of money.
13 American service members have been killed. President Trump mourned their loss and said the U.S. must press ahead to honor their sacrifice. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Well, here's a look at some national headlines this afternoon.
4, 3, 2, 1. Booster ignition. And liftoff.
NASA's Artemis II crew is now on an historic trip around the moon. The start of their 10-day journey, marking a milestone in the effort to get humans back on the lunar surface. You're looking at a live tracker of the mission from NASA right now. The crew will be working to move to an oval-shaped orbit today that will lead them to the moon. The crew is made up of a commander named Reed Weissman, pilot Victor Glover, mission specialist Christina Cook, and Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen.
The crew is now in the capable hands of Mission Control Houston. the Johnson Space Center, where teams will guide Orion through each phase of the mission with the same discipline and precision that has brought us to this moment.
After Artemis 2, NASA's plan is to have boots on the ground on the surface of the moon by 2028. Well, some residents of California's Bay Area may have had an early alarm clock go off, waking them up this morning. A 4.6 magnitude earthquake shook the region just before 2 a.m. Now, that's not a big enough earthquake to cause damage to that earthquake-resistant construction. It's common in that area. Seismologists do say the region could be undergoing a period of increased activity, but that doesn't signal a catastrophic quake, which could really happen at any time. California hasn't seen one of those since the 1990s. And new DNA testing has definitively linked the unsolved death of a Utah teenager to infamous serial killer Ted Bundy. The Utah County Sheriff's Office says 17-year-old Laura Ain went missing Halloween night 51 years ago. Her body was found about a month later on the side of a highway in American Fork Canyon. Investigators say Bundy admitted to her murder before he was executed in 1989, but the case remained open until detectives could be certain. Well, coming up tonight on KGW, a new investigation into why some Portland residents have been waiting nearly a decade just to get their street lights fixed. The city promised to replace those lights within a year, but hasn't. Here's investigative reporter Kyle Aboshi with a preview.
It all started with a crash. A car took out a street light right outside a home in southwest Portland. The homeowner figured the city would fix it quickly. 4 years later, he's still asking why it took so long. February 14, 2022, a car knocked down a streetlight outside Derek Costarella's home. The city promised a fix. Then came the excuses. Materials, crew workloads, underground utilities. Year after year, nothing. Then, the same day we showed up, a city crew arrived and fixed it in less than 2 hours.
You know, these guys are the heroes. They do the work, but it's like, what are the layers of administration between these guys and the mayor? And that just continue to kind of punt issues out and just aren't accountable.
That homeowner finally got his light pole fixed, but tonight we'll show you how many others are still waiting and why the city warns it could get even worse. Our full investigation coming up tonight at 6.